Okay, I guess I put this off long enough. This is a video I really didn't want to make, but the Bills went to Cincinnati and lost to the Bengals. Now, this is not really a surprise because they did go into this game as an underdog, the first time they were an underdog all year, and the Bengals are a very, very good team. However, after watching the game, it's a bit upsetting. Let's go through the three things that I asked you to look for. Which one of the quarterbacks, is it going to be Allen or Joe Burrow that looks like they're in the zone? Well, first drive, it looked like they both were in the zone. Joe Burrow stayed in it the whole game and played really well with his short passing game. And Josh Allen fell out of it once or twice, but still had a pretty good game. That one pass for the interception, I don't know what zone he was in there, but not the right zone. But overall, a good game by both quarterbacks. But that couple of mistakes is all it takes. The other thing was, how are the new players going to do? Didn't really think Fournette was going to play, and they didn't even bring him up off the practice squad. But Rasul Douglas actually had to play more than I thought he would because the defense, I'm going to start calling them the BandAid defense because there are more injuries on this defense than I can remember ever on a Bills team. I mean, we're talking Trey White, Matt Milano, Daquan Jones, now Christian Benford, Dane Jackson, Micah Hyde. I mean, wow. You got a BandAid holding this thing together. And then Terrell Bernard even goes down. I mean, I'm sure there's even more that I'm missing that are playing with injuries. But next man's got to step up, I guess. And the defense did hold him to only 3 points in the second half. But you know what? When you go into halftime up by as much as they were, maybe that's sort of a enigma that, how you're playing in the second half trying to hold a lead type thing by the Bengals. So I can't give the defense the excuse. I mean, a lot of people are saying you can't blame the defense because they're injured. Well, yeah, they're injured, but we still have to play defense, and hopefully they can play really well. But the offense is really questionable right now, and I'll get into that in a moment. But and then the last thing was, will they stay up tempo? Well, guess what? The first drive, they went up tempo. They went no huddle, went right down the field and scored. Then they stopped, didn't score again. Then towards the end of the game, they went up tempo because they had to because they were running out of time. Well, too late. Almost came back again. Almost. If you'd have stayed up tempo the whole game, who knows what would have happened. It's the only offense that's working. And I know it's harder to do in visiting stadiums, but you got to go with it. You got to go with it. And, Fournette says he can't play yet because the defense or the offense is too complicated of an offense to understand yet. He needs a couple of weeks. Well, maybe that's the thing. Maybe it's not the up-tempo because you have to dumb down the offense a little bit when you go up-tempo. Maybe the entire offense needs to be dumbed down a little bit. Maybe it's too complicated, and that's the problem. I don't know, but all I know is when they go up-tempo and they go no-huddle, they're finding success. And I know that the drawback to that is, especially with an injured defense, if you don't get first downs, you wear out your defense even more, and they're going to have a hard time keeping up. But if the offense can't score points any other way than going no huddle, I don't think we have a choice at this point. You better go no huddle. You better go up tempo and see what works. If it's been working. It's the only thing on offense that's been working since the Miami game. I feel like the team went to London and they forgot to play offense since they went. And all the injuries we got there. Now we got Dawson Knox out too. And Daquan Jones, Matt Milano get hurt over there. That trip to London. How do you move forward now? Okay, and the other thing that's got to be talked about with this game, it wasn't in my 3 things, but it's got to be talked about. I know officiating throughout the NFL is awful. And every team's been getting gashed at some point this year. But how do you miss a player sliding on the ground like he's sliding into second base to break up a double play, or tackling in a soccer game and using his legs, the only thing to tackle a player, and not call tripping? At the end of the first half, that happened. Dalton Kade came up limping and could hardly run the next route, which they even threw to him too. But that would have put the ball on the 24-yard line with almost 30 seconds left, and the Bills had a timeout. If the Bills could have scored there, I mean, it's a completely different game, and who knows what happens. But they did lose by less than a touchdown. And that play could have been the whole game. Because the very next play, they call Josh Allen for intentional grounding when there's no pressure on the quarterback. To call intentional grounding, there has to be pressure on the quarterback, no receiver in the area, and the quarterback has to be in the pocket. Okay, the quarterback was in the pocket. There was no receiver in the area because Gabe Davis ran an option route, and he ran the different option than what Josh was going to throw, which happened in the Dolphins game, and Tua threw the ball to nobody, and no one called a penalty on that. So, and it happens in several games every week. But Josh got called for intentional grounding, which took him out of even having field goal range. So, very frustrating that the Bills really should have had an opportunity to get a touchdown on that drive, and it was taken away from them. Then they drove later in the game, and when they got into the red zone, Dalton Kade got flipped into the air, and the Bengal player made a good play and punched the ball out. I can't fault Dalton Kade on that. If you're flipping in the air and somebody punches the ball out of your arm, there's really not much you can do. So good play by the Bengals on that one, but it shows that the Bills were moving the football in the second half and getting it down the field, and then they went no huddle and they scored a touchdown. Yeah. And then if the defense could have got the ball back, the way that the offense was moving the ball, I think they would have scored another one. But the defense wasn't able to get the ball back, and we can't blame the defense because there's so many injuries. The BandAid defense couldn't get it done. They couldn't get the ball back. And on the last play, Von Miller went a little bit too inside, didn't keep his cover, and Mixon got around him for the first down. But that's just one play. And Von Miller this week, I'm telling you what, if he wants to come back at 100%, this is the week to do it when he's playing against his old team, the Denver Broncos. I hope he's ready to go. I don't know why all Bills fans are let Trey White, when he came back from the very same injury, have several games to get going, get his legs under him, and no one was complaining. And then Trey White came back looking like the Trey White of old. But we're apparently not going to let Von Miller do that. It's the same exact injury. Von's coming back. He's looking better every game, just like Trey did. Let's give Von some benefit of the doubt and know that he's going to come back as the Hall of Fame player that he is. The Bills have not lost a game at home this year. They may not lose a game at home this year. They play really well at home. The Mafia gives them a distinct advantage. They're able to hear when they're on offense, and the other team's not able to hear when they're on offense. So it's a distinct advantage, and the Bills have not lost at home. Will they win all their games at home this year and not make the playoffs? Time will tell. Let's see. But it doesn't matter to me. Bills win, lose, or draw. I'm a Bills fan, and I support our players, each and every one of these guys, and our coaches. But with that, everybody get all this junk out of their system, because I want positive attitudes on Monday Night Football when we take on the Denver Broncos, and we'll do a video about that in a couple of days. But let's get all these negative attitudes out and done with. You got to put last week's game behind us, just like you got to put a bad play behind you. Move forward, support our Bills, And remember to always go Bills and God